Hi guys, hope you're doing well. First off, sorry for the terrible quality. I've decided to work outside today, so I'm just chilling out in a pub, having a drink, and yeah, just working through some questions. So yeah, sorry about that, the quality. Hopefully you can kind of push through it because there's some good questions here today. All right, first question is about a water filter. So if I just share my screen with you guys, I can show you this water filter that a client has asked me about. Let's see. All right, cool. So this client's asked me about a particular water filter, whether it's good or not. Obviously, I'm just going to give my honest opinion about everything. The first thing that worries me a little bit is the price. I know that sounds bad, but unfortunately these days I would be highly suspicious of anything that costs not a lot. We generally find that if you're looking for good quality things, they just cost a little bit more, they last longer, they use better quality material, etc, etc. I know it's difficult for a lot of you guys out there with finances and stuff, but that's just how things work, unfortunately. So that's the first thing that I look at, especially on Amazon. That's super cheap, so I would be highly suspicious of that as well. The second thing to look for is reviews. I mean, this has got 2 customer reviews, both at 1 star, so that's also a big red flag for me. I'm not sure what the 1-star reviews are. I think it's something to do with the, it doesn't fit very well. So again, so far, not looking too good. The other thing that I should mention is that when you're looking for carbon filters, a good thing to do is basically try and find a filter that doesn't fit on the tap. So it's actually, you can use like something like this. It's quite an expensive one, but these filters, basically what happens is you fill up the filter using your tap water, and it takes a long time for the filter to do its business. And what I'm trying to say is the quicker the water flows through the filter, the less toxins will be absorbed. So if you're using a filter that fits onto a tap like this, the water's going to move through it very quickly, and I highly doubt that it's going to be able to extract many toxins, to be honest. Also, the material here, bamboo charcoal, you want to be looking for activated charcoal. That's the best carbon filtered charcoal to use. Bamboo, not too good. I would be suspicious of the plastic on here as well. What else? So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't use this particular filter, to be honest. I would try and find one similar to this one, which is much bigger. This is an expensive one, to be fair, but it will last and it will work, and it's much better than the tap one. And you can refill things much easier. By the looks of this, you can't refill the charcoal very well, especially because it's like a specialist charcoal by the looks of things, bamboo charcoal. So, you do have to frequently change these things, every month or whatever. So, yeah, basically try and find a filter that looks a little bit more like this one, that uses activated charcoal and it doesn't fit onto a tap. Okay, so that's that. All right, second question is from a client who's going through a bit of a bad day yesterday. I had a horrible day yesterday. It was very frightening. I would call it a psychotic episode where I just wasn't in control of my actions. I would say it was caused by PMS. Yeah, that could be a possibility. Obviously, women who are around that time of month, their copper will rise, and they will tend to get a lot more emotional. Probably not a good idea to call it a psychotic episode. Maybe, I know it might feel like that, but you know, that's just going to make you feel even more anxious if you try and call it a psychotic episode. You know, it's more just like a reaction to biochemistry. I've now started a different regime, you told me, even though it's still 6 days until my period. Having a chiropractic adjustment that seemed to give me pain in my neck, and then doing a back-to-back coffee enema with too much coffee not drained properly out of the enema solution, so that must have remained inside me. So yeah, it seems to me like he's pretty stressed. You can get a little bit more overwhelming, especially if the coffee has not come out of the system properly. So, you know, in a way, you can set yourself up for a bit of an episode. My adrenal glands must have been battered. It started off where I was just so removed from reality, intense shaking, chest pains, and feeling numb and floaty in my limbs. Then my partner made me some fried plantain, trying to calm me down, and burnt the bottom of the pan, so they were black, and I ate them anyway. Then I realised he'd used an aluminium pan, so I ran into the kitchen and looked at the old aluminium pan, and all the black coating off it and aluminium was chipped off and must have gone into my plantain. So I was mortified at having consumed all this aluminium. In my mind, it was 1,000 steps backwards in progress, and I started literally screaming, banging my head against the wall, hysterically bawling my eyes out, etc., etc., till around 2 a.m. So at the end of the day, it seems to me that certain things have come together to make you super sensitive to various things, and you've obviously got into a bit of a shock, which is normal, especially in the beginning of the program. I think one of the biggest reasons was probably the fact that you did a back-to-back coffee enema and the coffee didn't drain out properly, and that can cause this kind of feeling. So in the future, I would suggest probably not to do a back-to-back coffee enema if you're struggling to get the coffee out of the system. Also try and do the coffee enema in the morning and try and drink a lot of water instead, because I know the feeling when you do 2 back-to-back coffee enemas, it doesn't come out, it can get quite intense. As for the aluminium issue, you know, the nutritional balancing program doesn't protect you from everyday life, basically. What I mean by that is that life still goes on, and stuff happens, and stuff will happen, you know, again and again, for various different reasons. You know, doing the program doesn't make you immune to just things that happen. So I wouldn't worry too much. You know, this is a problem that you're going through. I've been through similar problems. All my other clients have been through similar problems. It's just a part of the process, and you'll get through it. You know, most of the aluminium is going to come out of the system anyway. You know, just make sure you're drinking plenty of water. I've now walking in a complete haze with a little more sense about me, but still feeling mortified at the idea of consuming aluminium. I'm going to take up to 6 B6s today, a couple of zinc and nothing else, supplement-wise, that you said, to avoid while having PMS. I thought I should tell you because it's been quite scary, but could this have been a spiritual psychic reaction? I don't think so. I don't think this is necessarily a healing reaction. I think that you've overwhelmed your body a little bit because of the PMS symptoms and doing the coffee enemas back to back, and that's just put your body into a bit of a shock because it hasn't been drained out properly. You could try having a little bit of charcoal if you're worried. It won't harm you too much. Some activated charcoal, just a tiny bit. But apart from that, just rest, just drink plenty of water. You know, maybe just skip the enemas for a couple of days, get yourself on the PMS program that I recommend to you, and just push through it. Again, it's just one of these things that happens. Try not to worry about it too much. I know it's pointless me saying that, but you'll be fine. You know, you'll be absolutely fine. All right, next question. I was wondering if you talk about being a believer. I have come to learn that there are believers but don't ever talk about being saved by their Saviour, Jesus Christ. I admire these people a lot because they put me to shame with their devotion to God in their lives with prayer. These people don't go to church, but you can tell their relationship with this God is so real and true. In fact, I asked someone something about the rapture and she didn't even know what it was, but yet she loves God so much. I guess Christians kind of live in fear of God. I don't know. Well, I think I can only tell you from my own personal experience. I didn't get brought up in a religious family. I got brought up to fear God at school, and we ridiculed God and religion. And for me, it always felt a little bit fabricated. I'm not too sure. Something just didn't feel 100% right. Jesus was a man of the people. He just walked on the streets and helped people. Yet we've kind of created all these churches and all these kind of weird things around this man that was basically just a man of the streets, just doing his own business. And we've kind of created this whole idea behind this person. And, you go into church and, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but my own experience is that God started coming into my life through music, through people, through nature, through truth. And it made me kind of want to seek God more, but I felt much more connected to God when I was in what God created, if you understand what that means. God created nature and, sounds and birds and animals and people. And I always found that I can find a much more connection to that spirituality when I was surrounded by the things that I suppose God created. I'm still working around it, but I feel like I have a really strong connection, and I don't worry about hell. I'm also skeptical around the whole reincarnation thing. I think reincarnation is real, and I feel like it got removed from the Bible. And all the other religions believe in reincarnation, so does Dr. Wilson. So that's another thing, that I have to question about, how some Christians think. I haven't read the Bible personally. I've not wanted to read it on purpose because I've wanted to find my own sense of God and what that means to me, and then I will read the Bible because I feel like it will be much more beneficial for me if I do it that way. I also like to look at a lot of life after death experiences from people because I feel like there's a lot of truth hidden in them experiences, and they all speak about a God a lot different to these people that, in my opinion, direct experiences with what you could call God when they're in a life after death experience. And there's a lot of truth in that. It's not written in a book, or it's direct experience, and these people have some amazing experiences, and it kind of made me realize that God is a lot different to what kind of I got taught in school or what people tell me in churches, or so I'm doing my own due diligence and feeling myself into what God means to me. Although I've got nothing against any religion or Christians or anything like that, or the Bible, I think it's great. I think maybe the Hebrew kind of way of thinking might be a little bit more in depth. I feel like the Bible was written more simply for Western people, but again, that's something I'm not too up on. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like sometimes it's best just to try to feel into it and ask and pray, and God will just come into your life. You don't need to go to church necessarily. You don't have to be around Christians, and He'll be there. That's what I've experienced for me, and it's just been much more personal for me. So yeah, I hope that's answered the question. Okay. Another question here. I wanted to let you know that I quit my college team temporarily so I could focus on this program and reserving my energy levels. Good shout. I would have done that as well. What do you do for keeping up with the daily vegetable grind? I watched the video on how to cook them, and I plan to cook them every morning but do you go to the grocery store every day, or is it okay to get a week's worth of vegetables and keep them in my refrigerator until I cook them? Yeah, you can get a week's worth of vegetables, no problem. You know, 4 days or 5 days, go to the supermarket or wherever you get your vegetables from and get some more. Definitely not a good idea to go to the grocery store every day. You're going to be, you know, that's a bit overkill. I just find out I'm starting to lose a little bit of my hair as well. Does the hair analysis test for oxidation levels as well, or do you think this is just from my body lacking nutrients? Usually hair loss is due to when you have adrenal problems. So when you're acutely stressed, like you probably are at the moment, then you'll lose a bit of hair. Some people lose hair actually in the beginning of the program as well, because the body goes into even more shock because of the new diet, and it's actually stressful on the adrenal glands because the body's having to find a new equilibrium on how to live. So you can lose a bit of hair. I lost a bit of hair in the beginning. I know it's scary, like probably one of the scariest things that I've been, well, not one of the scariest things I've been through, but it was pretty scary in the beginning of the program. Like I was thinking, what the hell is going on? Doesn't really have anything to do with oxidation levels, but it does test for oxidation. So yeah. The push it down exercise also won't load when I click on the link. So if you could resend me the link, that would be awesome. All right, cool. I'll send you that link. So I think that is pretty much it for questions today. So if you'd like me to answer any questions, then please feel free. At the moment, I'm doing this for free. And if you enjoy them, I'd be really grateful if anyone could send in donations for me to keep doing stuff like this, because I really enjoy answering questions. So anyone that would like to make a donation, you can go to paypal.me/Lewis Rowlands, and you can send a small payment. That'd be cool. All right, guys, I will speak to you all soon.